The idea of having an immaculate finish was ever present. The desire to focus on that entirely and then work backwards from that to create whatever framing we needed to, or whatever fixing and adhesive solution we needed to. The initial sort of brief that we took from the architect was based entirely, as I said, upon having nothing that we can work backwards from. So we had to provide some experience as to what products we may or know about or may have used before for the finish. And the process was to get a brief from the architect, which was entirely drawn by hand, and we needed to work off what he was doing as a technical conversation first. Expand that brief and then explore some products for him. Now the reality was, whilst we had those products and solutions within our portfolio already, it needed to be a bit more dynamic to put those things together with the products we didn't know existed yet. So once we'd found those, or helped him find those, or they'd found those, we then knew what our weights were and our physics was, so we could then marry those two things together. The solution did change in between because the product changed in between. So the original solution wasn't the glass and the mirroring that we've got now, but it was a stainless steel product that, with hindsight, didn't work and wouldn't have worked, and we're better off without it. So, and also the physics of that would have been different because it would have been a different loading, and there's no guarantees that the more you increase something load-wise, that you're going to get the finish that you're looking for. So it almost holistically worked itself out quite well. So ultimately, the glass gave us a weight advantage. It also gave us an advantage over managing thermodynamics, but it also created an environment where you can maintain it better to make it look as clean, as crisp as it needs to be invisible. If you were trying to create a one facade image with mirroring, then stainless steel would probably be a bit more cost effective in terms of installation and more manageable in terms of installation, but you wouldn't get that continuous focus away from reflection that you're going to, which creates that invisible aspect. At some point you would see a flat panel which would come back at you. So to do that across many facades wouldn't work. So the aesthetic is developed because the glass is there. So the building had to be off the ground and level at the same time. So if you were to look at the level of the ground and the floor that you're standing on, it will be continuous across all the pods as they're known. So that means that your framing points that you fix and advise on, that we do, we provide a document that gives them a very good guide as to where things need to be, and then also we can adjust that to make sure that it's there. It needs to follow that levelling that's occurred. So the line of the mirror, if you like, across the building is the same. Now, where that poses a challenge for us is that we then have to then decide at what points we can fix and what points we can't fix to create that level continuously. There was a lot of input that I had as an individual, which was still solution-based in terms of what we provide, but there was a lot of storyboarding that needed to occur, both with the client and with the architect and with the builder particularly, because for everybody this was a novel concept. It wasn't something they'd done before, particularly for the installation lads, because they're really at the sharp end. Any mistakes that they make, somebody else is living with for a while. So giving them the opportunity to try things out somewhere off the building was very useful, and giving them the understanding of what the materials they're using do and how they react in certain temperatures and how they react at certain times of the day was very helpful to them. But that was constant input across the life cycle of the project. The reality is that on a product solution basis, we did a lot of the work at the front end, which is where you want a lot of that work done as a design concept as early as you can, so that all of those problems are a little bit less creasy or creased until when you get to the actual sharp end of it with the installer. So the SFS solutions that we had were our envelope framing solutions. We had an NV1 system, which is not a thermally insulated, but a thermally broken, isolated bracket with 2 of our SFS fixings, which would have been a fixing that was appropriate to the substructure. We should then use an STA5 fixing for the framing, which is the rail, the T-rail, and for the corners an L-rail, which is extruded aluminium 6005 to length. So it was cut to a specific length. And then we would have used an adhesive from, not one that we make ourselves, but one from our partner suppliers, which would have had to have been designed or assisted for finding out the right amount of pull and push that we needed for the particular weight of glass. The benefit of having a bracket and a rail that you can adjust to create a substructure that's away from an uneven surface of timber and plywood and whatever it's created from, is that you can adjust it across many points, because you've got many points that's fixed to that substrate. Whatever you then create after that, you know is going to be relatively perfect.